what I'm going to present today is two tools that we've been using in our traffic operations in the Laredo district. First of all, I would like to thank Danny McGee for our Director of Traffic Operations for providing the feedback to that helped me build these tools. First of all, the first tool that I want to talk to you about is a task management tool, just as the title says, a task in itself. And task management is our greatest challenge. And I'm saying this because, I know some of you, and I know how professional you are, and I know you guys are smart, and you do a good job, and you know how to do it, and you're professionals at what you do, and I've seen it. Your challenge is not so much, completing those projects. We have our standards. We know how to issue those work orders out, and we know how to go after the contractors and getting the job done. But the challenge is how to keep track of all of that, how to keep track of everything that's going on at the same time. If you know a little bit about traffic, we have our speed studies, and we have HSIP, and then we have sign requests and RMC contracts and railroads, and we have like 30 permits, and then we have like 20 studies to go through. And I was talking about with Mike Garza from San Antonio, and we agree on the same thing. I mean, we agree that it gets crazy sometimes. It's not so much that we get crazy because of the work. We are professional at what we do. It gets crazy because of the amount of work and how to manage it. This tool is basically the need for this tool was from that. How to keep up with changes in priorities, how to manage your time more effectively, how to balance workloads, how to keep track of all those special assignments. A lot of times your director might come to you and say, didn't I ask you to work on this 3 months ago? I like to know the style of that. Now, didn't I send you an email on that? And then you go back to your computer and then try to find that email, and hopefully you're not the one that dropped the ball, and fortunately you find out that you are the one that dropped the ball. And unfortunately, it's human nature that those are the things that we remember. Your boss might say, didn't you? I remember you dropped the ball about 4 months ago. I remember. That's the one thing that sticks. No, so to kind of help you with that, and hopefully that doesn't happen in your office. Kind of wondering why work is not getting done. Well, with this tool, you're gonna know. Not that work is not getting done. You're gonna know the work is getting done, right? So what we tried in the past, and of course we tried Outlook, which we were flooded with emails and appointments and tasks, and it was hard. It was hard to use that as a tool to manage our task. We did have an Excel spreadsheet at some point, and that's what I used to kind of build a baseline for the new program. And of course, we had our notepads and lists, and we had a blackboard on the back. We put our names, and under the name we were writing down a task that we had at some point, trying something, right? We actually had TTI build a program for us sometime back, a few years back, and that person was stationed in our district for a few weeks to build this program, but it got kind of cumbersome, and it had a lot of different screens and a lot of fields to fill in, and it got a task in itself, of course. It got kind of cumbersome. And so it didn't take off. So that's a real picture from our office. So this is the tool that we built. Sorry that the font is kind of small. I wasn't sure how big the screen was going to be. But it's just basically two screens. You have your main screen. It's a list of all your tasks. We'll go through the different fields that we came up with. And different filters. You can filter for location or a specific location. You can filter for a certain team or who's assigned to. In this case, I filtered for my team, for one person in my team, which is Jose Saldaña, if you see it there, if you can see it. And I also filter for the status not completed, which I wanted to know his workload. This is his workload. This is a real screen. And you see one red line there. That means that task is past due. It's just past due about 3 days ago. So it goes red. So that's a quick, view of if something goes past due, you'll see it in red. The second screen is just the screen that we use to put our notes. Every task, if you double click on the task, it'll open this screen, and you see the notes that the progress of a task. Through the notes, you'll have a quick view of what's been done about any task at any point. So some of the fields that we thought it was important for us, first of all, the location, of course, county, city, highway, cross street, nearest city, and task description. Some task assignment. We have a team. We divide our section in two teams, and who's assigned to the categories. Of course, these are traffic signal categories. See, the beauty of this program is it's built in Excel. Okay, so for any of you that feel that, what about if I need another field? Or what if I don't need this field, I need to say this? It's very simple, just Excel. Okay, you just change the name of the field and you're good to go. All right, it's not that difficult. And who's requested by? This is one of the most important fields for us in task progress. We have the date requested, which is automatically filled in when you create the task. There's a due date and there's a due date type. Now we came up with these three different types. Floating due date means that might be a task that might take some time to finish, so you kind of just put a date to the task just to kind of remind you. Target is when you have more of I want this by the end of the month, or I want this by, but it's not a fixed task. That's the next one. Fixed is you need that by that date. Okay, that could be a PSNE, that could be something that's a hard due date that you want that task to be completed by. You also have the priority. Now priority, we started just with low, medium, and high, which that didn't really have a lot of meaning, so we changed to cold, cool, warm, hot, and boiling. And the reason is, this makes more sense to us when we're changing those priorities. If I give you a task, that might be at the beginning, might be on the cool side or maybe warm, depending on how much time I need for you to work on the task. But if later on we get a call from the DE or the place starts burning or something, then we might change it to hot or boiling. Hot might mean that it's a hot priority, so you need to work on it. But if I put boiling, that means drop what you're doing and finish this task. Okay, so that kind of helps the person that is assigned to how much we need this, right? Status, we have it from not started, in progress, in construction, or completed. Progress, we have from barely started some work, halfway done, almost done, waiting, submitted for review, work order issued, and completed. Now the difference between these two, the status and the progress, the status is managed by your lead worker or by your supervisor. Only your supervisor is the one that has the ability to close the task that you have. You might say, oh, I completed this task. Yeah, you put completed in your progress field, but you go to your supervisor and say, hey, what about this other thing? You forgot to do this other task. So it goes back to your list. It's still on your list until your supervisor or your lead worker changes the status progress to completed. So it'll still show up on your list. And also work orders. If the task is in relation to a certain contract or CSJA, you put that information in there. So how this works is a multi-user Excel program. All right, so the way it works is there's one Excel spreadsheet that's sitting on a shared drive where everybody has access to. And there is each of the clients or the users of the program have the actual Excel tool that reads from the shared drive, so everybody can see the same information at any point in time. And we can have either from staff from our district office, and also staff from remote offices. As long as they have access to the same shared drive, they can see all the information or have access to. All right, so some of the benefits of this program, it's been, it keeps a history of all of the tasks and projects. This is important to us because sometimes, we worked on something, a year and a half ago, and if you're trying to find it on the emails or sometimes folders, or you go back to, but if you have a record, it's also important. It's always important for us to have the history. It's easy to customize. Like I said, this is Excel. It's easy to customizable. Any field can be changed, edit the type, or add more fields. It's easy. It's an easy way to manage workloads. As you saw, the first screen that I had, that was his workload. I go through my staff and I go through their workloads. If I feel that someone has more design work, or I need someone to work on certain priorities, then I might make changes to their workload. It's easy because I have it right there on my screen. Okay, it keeps you informed of all tasks, deadlines, priorities, assignment, and categories, locations. So information is key. All right. So as long as you have the information available to you, you can make those decisions, and that's what this tool is all about. It gives you an objective way to look at employee performance. Also, and any employee at any point that when you come in the office, you open it, you see what you have to work on that day. That's how you manage your day-to-day operations. But also, at the end of the year, if your supervisor can pull up the desk, and this is not going to be anymore like, oh, I think you did good this year. You're going to have a record of everything that was completed that year. You're gonna. I mean, it's to your benefit, and this is not to hurt anyone. It is to help the section and to really know what's going on in your section. It just gives you that information to you to make those decisions. All right, and so that doesn't happen to you either. Hopefully, for those that can read the test. And we'll continue to have these meetings until I learn why no work is getting done. All right, this is the first tool. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm going a little fast. I'm still going to be available after the presentation if anyone wants to get with me later, and I can explain a little bit more on this tool. There's a second tool that I want to present to you today, and it's called the RMC Tracker. RMC is for routine maintenance contracts, and basically routine maintenance contracts are contracts that we issue out. We get a contractor on board to do work on our highways, and most of the contracts that we have in traffic are non-site type contracts, which means we get a contractor on board and we issue out work orders. We issue out a work order for a need that might arise in somewhere in the district, and we issue out that work order to the contractor to do that work. So the way we've been trying to manage all these contracts and traffic in our district, we handle not just the traffic signal contracts, but also pavement marking contracts, the large sky sign contracts, highway, the illumination contracts, striping contracts, and we have our district is 8 counties, and it's kind of stretched out along the border. So we issue out a contract for lower counties and another contract for upper counties because of the distance to travel from one side of the district to the other side. So the way we've been trying to handle all these contracts, we create a folder for every fiscal year. In that fiscal year, in this case, FY 2016, we have another folder for maintenance contracts. In that folder, we put in a folder for each of our contracts, okay, for each of the CSJs, as you can see on the screen. Each one of those CSJs have another folder for work orders, okay? So each work order has its own folder, and within each work order folder, we have a spreadsheet and a memo that we kind of have to create manually. Is basically what we've been doing, or we just copy some other one from another work order, and we just modify it and edit manually, entering all the items, descriptions, quantities, prices, and so we have to generate this Excel sheet to issue out this work order. We give this to our contract specialist along with the memo and some layouts if needed, and this is what we send out to the contractors. So imagine one of these for every folder, for every work order, for every contract. If at any point our director or our DE wants to know, hey, can you tell me a status of all your contracts and how you're doing? I mean, I have to go through all those folders and trying to, it takes a lot of work. The the district maintenance in our district to handle their guardrail contracts. What they have is one spreadsheet per CSJ. In that spreadsheet, they have a tab for each of the work orders. In each tab, they have all the items and the quantities and the prices. So this is how also, and plus they have to do all this manually and enter the payments from site manager into their spreadsheet so that they can compare the two. Okay, so as you can see, this is, and I'm not sure, your districts how you've been handling RMC contracts, but for us, it got to a point where I said, we need something. We need a tool to help us do this. So on top of all this, we have Site Manager. Okay, so Site Manager has another set of spreadsheets that, you have to go to and type in the CSJ and filter for, your month that you're, trying to, audit, that kind of stuff. So you still have to go through those spreadsheets to kind of manage your contracts. So the idea is to merge these two systems into one single tool. One tool that can bring in all the data from Site Manager into a tool that can help you manage all of those contracts and work orders in a single location. So the way it works is kind of similar to the task program. There is a shared database in a folder or in a server where everybody has access to. The main difference is that there's also Site Manager, and it fits the data into this program. And in our section, we have access through one of our, any in our section actually can have access to the data. But also, we have staff in Del Rio, or traffic signal guys in Del Rio. They have access to the same data, and they can issue out work orders if they need to. Just last week, I gave them the training on how to use this tool, and they already put in 2 work orders. So they're quick to use it. That was good. So from Del Rio, they don't have to send us an email anymore. Hey, I need you to issue out this work order, and I need this item. So they don't have to explain what kind of work that's just going to the program, and they enter the items that they need for that work order from my remote location. The district maintenance, actually, I was talking to Cindy Saldana, and they're planning, they're thinking about also having the maintenance supervisors issue out their guardrail work orders from the maintenance office. Right now, they have to call the district maintenance. Someone in the district maintenance have to, create a spreadsheet and issue out the work orders. But with this program, they can do it remotely. They can, from their office, they can go in and enter the work order. Also, your contract specialist can have access to it, so as you can see all the new work orders that have been added to the system. And any of the directors, your director of traffic operations or director of maintenance, district maintenance, can have access to this tool, and they can see how much you spent on a fiscal year and things like that. So let's go into the tool. This is the main screen. There's only 2 tabs. There's the contract summary, which has a list of all your contracts, all your CSJs. If you see that button that says import, that's all you do. Just click that button and you type in the CSJ, and it brings it into the system. It goes and reads the spreadsheets from Site Manager, brings in your CSJ, brings in all the line items, all the payments that are found in Site Manager into this tool. Some of the fields that you see there is the CSJ, the description, the contractor, the work type. The 4 fields in the middle are the original days. The next one is additional days and the days used. The 4th one is just the percentage of days used, and this is just information that you find in the Site Manager spreadsheets. That little color bar that you see at the bottom of the percentage is just a progress bar. It goes from from green to yellow to red. Once it gets past the 90%, it goes to red, so you have a quick view that your contract is about to expire. The next field is the original price of the contract, your original estimate. The revised price in case there is change orders. The next one is if you see a drop down that says 2018, that means that's how much you've been paid through Site Manager on fiscal year 2018. On the drop down, you can just select 2017 and you see how much you spent on 2017. So it gives you a quick view in a couple of seconds. You click it, and it gives you all your contracts that have that are on that list. And at the top, you see the total, the running total. So far on those contracts for traffic signals, we have or for a section, we have 260,000. In 2017, it was around $2.4 million for our traffic contracts. The next one is the total payment to the contractor. The next one is the total estimates plus pending work. So the program will add all your payments, plus if you have any work orders that the contractor haven't completed, it'll add those too, so you have a better idea as to how much money you still have left on that contract. And of course, the amount remaining in the contract and a percentage. Same as the days. You have a quick bar that goes from green to yellow to red once it gets close to the total amount. The next tab is the contract details. The contract details has 4 sub-tabs. The first one is the work orders, and this is very important for me. This is what I use every month before I approve the DWRs in Site Manager. I go in here, I go through the work orders that the contractor worked on the previous month. Basically the way it works, if you see that's the list of all the work orders for this CSJ, for this specific CSJ. At the top on the blue area, that's the information about the CSJ. The work orders is just a list of the work orders. The plus sign on the left side means that you can expand to the locations, which is this. In this case, I double-clicked on that work order number 4. There's 2 locations for this work order. If you double-click on the plus sign, you can expand to the items. So for location 1, these are the items on the original estimate. If you see right after the description has the quantity in the original estimate, and in front of it there is a quantity this year and a quantity total. That's the quantity from Site Manager. So you can compare it right in front of you. You have your estimated quantity versus what's been paid through Site Manager. So this is where if you have an item and you have 10 on your original estimate, but it actually has 20, then you kind of question that. How do you know? If you see on the left side also, there's plus signs. If you double click on the plus sign, it brings in the actual payment from Site Manager. So you can see what was entered in Site Manager. Just this last month, I was going through the work orders for some of our contracts. I found in 2 work orders we paid mobilization twice. Okay, so in my original estimate, we only paid mobilization once per work order. I found out that one contractor started the work order, entered the mobilization about 2 months ago. Another inspector came in at the end of the work. He entered the mobilization again. So I just a quick call and said, you need to delete these 2 mobilizations. They took them out. That afternoon, I went back in, and I saw that they weren't there anymore. So I went ahead and approved the DWRs. All right. So it is very important for me, and you don't know, how many errors can happen, out in the field. If you don't have this tool where you can merge the 2 right in front of you, you can see it and compare. There's from duplicate payments from items that are not in the original estimate, and all of a sudden I see a work order with a ground box where we didn't call for a ground box, and I called the inspector and he says, "Oh, sorry, the contractor told me he installed a ground box, but it was for a different location." So there's all kinds of things that can happen, but how do you know if you don't have that data in front of you, right? So this screen is, like I said, very, very important to me. I go through all my work orders and make sure that what I have in my original quantity kind of matches what's been paid out in the field. If I have any questions, I see those payments from Site Manager, right there in front of me, so I know if there's any discrepancies right there. So the next tab is line items. Is just a list of all the line items in your contract. if you see that next to the CSJ, there's a little refresh button with 2 arrows, and if you click that, what the program does, it goes and reads the spreadsheets from Site Manager, and it brings in all the data into your program. Okay, so you don't have to go into the spreadsheets of Site Manager anymore and type in the CSJ and try to find any information. You just click that button, and it does that in the background. You don't even see it. It takes about a minute to go through 3 different spreadsheets from Site Manager, and it brings in all the data from your line items to your payments to updates on your use days or contract amounts. Also, the payment history. If you've used Site Manager, there's the item history report. This is just a copy of that. You can also have it here. You can also filter for payments by month or by inspector or by item. What you see on the right, those 2 fields that are in white, those 2 fields that's how those payments are assigned to a work order. So when you click that update, the program will bring those payments into the program. It will have those 2 fields blank. So all you have to do is just kind of read the description from the inspector, find out what that item or that payment to what work order and location belongs to. You just put in the numbers. You click that save button at the top, and that's all you got to do. Those payments are assigned to the work orders. Then you can go back to your work order tab and look at your estimates and compare what you have in your original estimate versus what's been paid in Site Manager. Okay, the next one is a work order builder. It's just an easy tool to build those work orders. On the left, you have all the items from the contract. You can scroll down, and it'll have all your items in the contract. To the right, you have your estimate. So basically, you just select one of the items. You click the arrow to the right, and it brings it into your estimate. And all you got to do is just type in those quantities. All right. And at the top, you type in your work order number, your description, and location information. So it's a simple tool to use. It's I built it for the regular user. You don't have to be an expert in Excel to use this tool. It'll walk you through on building this work order. So there's 2 icons to the right. If you see that little Excel and Word icons, the Excel, what it does, it'll use that information that you just put in that work order builder, and it'll generate that spreadsheet that we're so used to, right? And this is just for the purposes of issuing out this work order. You can either save this Excel sheet in your folders. You can save it as a PDF, and this is what you send out to your contract specialist. The Word document, it generates the Word document from a template. This is the first template. It has just a description of the work. There's another template that the district maintenance uses, which has all the items in your locations. And so this is what you use to send to your contract specialist when you're ready to issue out the work order. So some of the benefits, what is the future of these 2 tools? Basically, the intent is to have, like I said, information is key. And these tools are going to build that backbone that we need to have a true dynamic dashboard. So in your dashboard, you can have these are just ideas of what we can have on those dashboards, and those dashboards will be updated.
We have to start wrapping up. 1 more minute to wrap up.
Okay, I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay.
And that's basically it.